And we are talking to our customers. I think we've got meetings this week and next week. We did send out a letter. We've been contacting them by phone to discuss what their situation is, what their emergency needs is, so we can really structure something for the board of directors as we go forward. Staff is putting different scenarios together depending on how our customers, what our customers need and so forth, and we'll continue to keep the board up to date as far as getting wells online and interconnections that we need to make and so forth. So we will be talking to customers, getting their numbers and see what our facility can do for them. Jumping to the snowpack, they did the first official snow survey, and it was 19% of average. So this year is categorized as a critical dry year for water years so far. Oroville is at 54% of historical average. San Luis is at 39% of historical average, and you'll notice that even from the last board meeting, those are continuing to slip. Right now, the 4-day, the only maybe good news is the 10-day forecast actually has average rainfall for that time period. But to recover, it's going to take a lot of snow and a lot of rain. This is the reservoir conditions, a little fat and wide here, but you can see that Oroville's at 54%, San Luis is at 39%, so those red lines are where we usually would be at this time of year. You can see the state of California is in pretty desperate shape, with Folsom being at 33%, 17% of capacity. So you can see that overall, state of California is in pretty dire strait. This is the chart for Oroville. Again, continuing to decline. We're getting down to the point where they're actually starting to go through scenarios of what if they can't get water out of the reservoir? Are they going to be able to get it through? Because you get to a certain point where the turbines start vibrating, you can't run the water through the turbines anymore. So, this is uncharted. What they say is this is uncharted territory for the state water project. This is San Luis. I've showed you these. Normally, you would have those. Those blue sections up above those red lines. You get close to filling things up and talking about spilling carryover this time of year in a normal year. But again, we're just having a difficult time getting water south of the Delta. This is the what they call the 8-station index. It kind of gives them an indication of what's going on as far as snowfall and precipitation in Northern California and the Feather River Basin. And you'll notice that the red line is 76, 77, and we're actually below that. See how that flat line, we're at 3.5%, or at 3.5 inches. Normally you would be in the 25 to 27 inch range for normal. So we're really, it's very, very dry. This is kind of a shocking chart. This shows the water years, the chart I just showed you. This is the last 100 years. Shows all the water years, all those points. And you can see where we are right now in 2014 is that bottom dot. So it's almost an total outlier. We're hoping that if we get above normal, it will start working its way up. But one way or the other, you'd have to have some really big storms to get even a reasonable precipitation level this year. So there's 1924, which is the record low, and 1977. A lot of you remember 77, if you remember. Because you got to keep the canal full, because then you're going to have maintenance problems. Right. You fill up the terminal reservoirs. If you'll notice, we went back to that chart. You'll see that Harris is full, Castade's full. So there's water pumped into those. So if we get to a situation where the director starts allocating water, they may have to do something, as far as that water supply. So right now on the books, all we have is our carryover. So maybe what you're looking at is our carryover from last year. They would come to a place where they'd say you can't take any more water out of the canal.
But would we also have a problem with cancer, malaria, and stuff like that? When water's not moved at a certain speed continuously, or we're going to have
you're absolutely. There's going to be a lot of water quality issues. They're looking at the Delta. They're wondering if they're going to be able to keep control of the Delta. If they should they start running some models now to see if they need to put barriers delta because they don't want salt water to come back in. They're talking about how much we're pumping in. You know, a lot of agencies are going to be pumping groundwater into the aqueduct and using the aqueduct as a conveyance system. There's going to be a lot of those kind of, I mean, like I said, we're really in uncharted territory. I mean, in the past, they've run like some stretches of the aqueduct backwards. They pump water back over the checks to get water to the agencies that need it. So it's likely to be very unusual years.
Does it make sense to take whatever we can get and bank it before they decide to say we can't have it?
If it came, you know, that's why we've been keeping track, and that's why the question kept coming up, that are we going to get that carryover? We're going to get that carryover. And we've been watching them on a regular basis to see if they're going to get that water. So far, I wouldn't recommend that we start recharging water because then we'd have to extract it again. I don't know if it's going to come to that. You know, if it did, it'd be serious, very serious. But they anticipate that they're going to have all of our water south of the delta. I think it was March, middle of March. They said, okay, well, middle of March, all we can do is make it to the middle of March, and then you'll have your carryover for sure. It'll be south of the delta. So normally they would have already had everything south of the delta by this time, but you know, we had so many pumping restrictions, so many water quality issues. So yeah, I mean that's kind of part of the package that I said I'm going to have to keep the board informed as we go forward. If it gets like we're going to get our carryover threatened, that will definitely be talking to you.
So what's special about Mars?
Not just that they're pumping at about 1,500 CFS at Banks pumping plant. If they keep that rate up, which is a very minimal amount, really, if they can keep that rate up, then they can get all the carryover south of the delta. Operations, we had a Quartz Hill shut down for maintenance and a quarter. Palmdale connection is 0.2, and of course we're not recharging the I don't know, John, anything you want to mention about operations as far as?
No. When Quartz Hill's off, we'll be meeting that demand with Rosamond. When Quartz Hill's off, we'll be meeting that demand with Rosamond.
No, actually, we have enough storage capacity in our clear wells that we're, LA County, Quartz Hill, and Palm Branch have agreed to shut off during the shutdown.
And the title of my statement is a tribute to Andy Rutledge and his dedication to public protection. I am honored to count Andy as a friend and to have served with him on the AVEK Board of Directors for over 20 years. What strikes me most about Andy's many attributes is his willingness to stand up for the little guy or the underprivileged. I believe that Andy developed this sense of justice from his roots in rural New Mexico, where he was constantly defending the water rights of his fellow farmers from the state of Texas. While our leaders in Sacramento and Bakersfield sat idly by, Andy took immediate action to defend the residents of Kern Hill and other communities of the rural Fremont Valley from those in Bakersfield who would drain the water out of the Fremont Basin. He befriended and comforted those who could not defend themselves and led the AVEK board to do the right thing and ask for further review of the situation. So, whether it's... Does George want to say something?
George, do you want to say something?
Yes. Andy, I wish I was there this evening, and it was -7 this morning in Nebraska. I think those are the map and the blanket. But I've enjoyed, our friendship for 55 years. With you through the years, and I've had a chance. Maybe I've had a chance to work with you, and it's been a pleasure. And don't forget us and come back to visit. And adios, Andy.
Thank you, George.
And thank you. And one other item, Keith, I'd like to mention. As far as the Fremont Valley, we have a committee, and and I'm on that committee, the board may want to give some consideration to getting a recommendation from one of our engineers or staff. And if you feel that's going to be, it could be potentially negative or neutral to us. And I don't know if we can do that this evening. It's not on the, I'm not sure we can do that this evening. But
Regarding Andy's protection of people who can't defend themselves, whether it be bullies in the schoolyards of the Antelope Valley, or in the state capital of Austin, Texas, or the county seat of Bakersfield, California, my friend Andy would never hesitate to dive in and fight the good fight to protect the weak. Andy, I will miss you, but the people of rural Idaho have gained a new champion. Now, Marlon, you have a
I just want to comment on Director Redwood. I just want to say it was an honor to serve sitting next to you on the board. And one thing that's indisputable is your passion for what you're doing here at AVEK, and you really care for the people, in your division. And I just want to say thank you for the years that you served here, and we all appreciate it. Wish you well.
I don't know what to say. It's been so great working with all of you people and working with AVEK. I really think you heard said that I retired from one position and I came on to AVEK. I'll tell you, this job has kept me, I think, young, kept me active, and one of the best things that I think that happened in my life was to serve on it and to do it. I want to thank all of you, and I'd like to thank the public that has supported me through all these many years, whether it be in education or on AVEK. So thank you, that's all I can say.
Okay, item 11, attorney's report.
Nothing other than to say I'm so honored to be here tonight and to be able to hear some of the remarks that have been made, all of which I couldn't agree with more. So, thank you.
Item 12, adjournment.